The King of France, Charles V, dies without a son. Closest relative is actually his nephew, King Edward III of England. But the French nobles basically say absolutely not. We are not being ruled by an Englishman. So they pull a sneaky move and give the crown to Charles's French cousin, Philip VI. Now, why did Edward III want the French throne so bad? Well, it wasn't just about the crown. England owned a lot of land in France, like Aquitaine, but they held it as vassals to the French king. This meant that the French could constantly meddle in English affairs and was always trying to take the land back. Edward figured that if he was the King of France, that problem would just vanish. So Edward III decides he's not just the King of England, he's the real King of France too, and he declares war. England, being a much smaller country than France, decided, okay, we gotta play a bit smarter, and so they decided to use the most overpowered weapon to ever drop in medieval times, the longbow. This wasn't a bow, it was basically a tank round to a French crossbow. At battles like Crecy and Ericourt, outnumbered English armies would just mow down the heavily armored French knights. So France is getting its butt kicked. A huge chunk of their country is occupied by the English. Now things get worse because the Duke of Burgundy, who's technically a Frenchman, decides to side with the English. And when it looked like England might actually conquest all of France, a teenage peasant girl named Joan of Arc showed up, claimed God sent her, and convinces the demoralized French heir to let her lead his army. She breaks the English siege of Orleans and gets him crowned King Charles VII. She was eventually captured and burned by the English, but she had lit a fire under France. They'd found their national spirit. They also started getting smarter, using cannons. Now the war was fizzling out. There was no big final battle. England ran out of money and morale. They lost their allies with Burgundy. They slowly lost all the territory they fought for 100 years to hold, until finally all they had left was a port city of Calais. When it was all over, England was broke and in its own civil war. France, on the other hand, emerged united, powerful, and with a strong national identity for the first time. All of it, a century of burning villages, famine, and battles that wiped out generations of nobles and peasants, all because of a disputed inheritance and the fact that an English king was also a French duke.